welcome to our It Takes a Community Luncheon and also our statewide Wear Blue Day. And it looks like almost everybody got the memo because it is statewide Awareness Day. And so we'll post pictures on Facebook. And before we get going, I wanted to thank all of the elected officials in the room. So I know Don Cragen is here, Tammy Pentic. John Patterson is here, our state representative. Thank you very much. Commissioner Whittington is here. Judge Kim Place, I don't think to come, and Judge Schroeder. So thank you guys all for being here. And we have Katie Berger representing Congressman Joyce's office. And several board members also were attending today too. We have Nancy Callaway, Fred Grimm, and Ruth Farr here today. Thank you guys all so much for being here and supporting Child Abuse Prevention Month and our award winners. It's always exciting to be able to give out awards to people who have really gone above and beyond and are people who have risen above, you know, all the things that have happened in their life. So we're really pleased to be able to do that today too. So last week, I had the opportunity to attend our regional Child Abuse Prevention Month kickoff. Our county is part of the Ohio Children's Trust Fund, Great Lakes region, Geauga County, Lake County, Cuyahoga County, and our county. The Trust Fund's theme this year is in the next 30 minutes. And that's because in Ohio, every 30 minutes, there's a child is abused or neglected, which is way too many. The idea then was to think about ways that we can prevent child abuse, more on a personal level. I mean, on a social level, there are so many things that contribute to child abuse, and we know that there's substance abuse, there's poverty, mental illness, lack of understanding of basic child development, intimate partner violence. Those are things that we all see. But personally, what are some of the things that we can do to maybe help prevent child abuse and neglect? So when you think of it in that way, there's quite a few things I think that we could all do. One of them is to maybe not be so judgmental when we're seeing young parents out there with their kids. We've all been in the grocery store and you see a child throwing a fit and mom's frustrated and people glaring at her and giving her dirty looks, or just not, you can hear their comments and you know she can hear them too. How about, words of encouragement, saying to her, hey, I've been there. It gets easier. Things like that, or when, the other thing that I've seen happen and I hear about happening is when you're in line at the checkout and you may have a parent paying with their food stamp card and they're buying candy for their kids and people give them those looks and say those nasty things. I don't know about you, but I always bribed my kids when we went grocery shopping that if they were good when we got to the checkout, they could get candy. Why can't those kids have candy when they get to the checkout? It's no different. And so, just things like that. There's things that we can all do. We can be 4-H leaders. And my kids are gone, I still do that. You could be a Girl Scout leader, Boy Scout leader. You could volunteer. Big Brothers, Big Sisters are always looking for volunteers. If you belong to a church and you have a church group, a youth group, participate in that. There's lots of ways that we can be a positive influence in a child's life that you don't even realize that you're doing. There's, sports. You can Coaches are great influences on kids, great mentors for kids. I just challenge you all to think about ways. There's lots of things we can do, but what will you do to help prevent child abuse? It's really not that hard when you think about it, and it could really make a difference in a child's life. I'm going to ask Reverend Grimm to come up and say a few words for us.
So thank you all for being here. On behalf of the board, we appreciate your support for the efforts of folks in our community. And I'm glad we've got quite a collection of people here today, including, if you watch the Indians game, we have people from Greg Sweet's Chevy commercials that are here. Isn't that fun seeing people from our community in those commercials? I think that's great. Let us pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we give thanks for your presence with us this day, and especially we give thanks for Drew and Alexis and Josh and Tyler and Joshua and Justina, and for the good folks at Making Kids Count Incorporated. Bless them and help them to continue to face their challenges and to win. And we ask your presence with all those that are here that help them to do that. And bless this meal and be with us during this Holy Week. Amen.
So I'd like to have our first award is Above and Beyond.
I'm Heather Johnson, and this is Christy. We work with in the foster adoption department, where we have the opportunity to meet our precious children who are coming into care. When children come into foster care, it happens very quickly. Many times the families don't have time to prepare. They don't have time to do the laundry before the kids have to pack things up, and a lot of times this is what it looks like. This is a perfect example of what it looks like.
Thank you to the hard work and the generosity of making kids count. Every child who comes into care is given a comfort kit.
So in this bag, it's amazing. And I'm gonna tell you, these kids go crazy over it. When I first saw these, I thought, oh, they're gonna really like that there's a game in there and that there's books. Every single thing in there is precious and valuable to them. They look at every single thing and they treat it with the utmost respect and care because it is so precious to them. Even the bag itself, they are blown away by because they're like, I've never had a bag like this. So in this bag, there's a blanket, there's clothes, hygiene products, school supplies, games, toys, books, snacks, and a handwritten card, which our kids just adore because somebody cared enough to write me a card on the worst day of my life. And it's because of these ladies.
Hi, I'm Dawn Lilia. I'm the Independent Living and Emancipated Youth Caseworker at Children's Services. I work with the teens and young people aging out of foster care, and it's a role that I feel very fortunate to be involved in. Today, I have the pleasure to speak about two individuals that have overcome much adversity and obstacles. Both of these individuals are independent thinkers and are level-headed in situations that really call for that. First, I'm going to speak about Drew Herman. It's been wonderful to see Drew mature through the years and gain confidence after enduring some very painful moments and setbacks early in his life. Drew has graduated from Edgewood High School. After high school, he held several jobs, but none of them were quite the right fit for him, and he knew that it wasn't quite right for him and it wasn't making him happy. He trusted his instinct and kept looking for something that suited him. About 2 years ago, he began working for Lynch Lighting and LRS Lighting. These are two companies that travel throughout the United States installing professional lighting inside and outside of stores like Drug Marts and CVS's and also companies. He started at the bottom as a crew member, just learning the ropes. Today, Drew is 21 years old and a leader in his own crew. So he's the crew leader now, and he's doing well for himself financially, and he's very happy. I cannot express how proud I am to talk about him today. Unfortunately, he's not able to be here today because he's in Tennessee working. He loves his job. He enjoys the opportunity to travel and experience new things. He's like a gentle giant. He's a big, tall young man, but very funny and very, very sweet, and I was very glad to work with him. Thank you. Alexis, will you come up, please? This is Alexis Thompson. It's been an amazing opportunity to watch Alexis grow and become the fine young adult that she is today. Alexis is inspiring and wise beyond her years. She demonstrates a commitment to whatever she sets her mind to and achieves her goals despite the many obstacles she's had to overcome. She's such an old soul, and she really is. She's wonderful. Alexis completed high school at Lakeside and is furthering her education in the medical program at ATEC, and she's also maintaining a job in a nursing home. Alexis is willing to put in hard work that is needed to achieve her goals. She's determined and demonstrates her independence by making good choices and planning ahead for a better future, and I'm very proud of her.
Even being 19 years old, going into like the foster care system at 17, it was a big challenge and it was kind of hard, but because of people like Dawn and people like you guys there to support me when I didn't have support and when I felt like I was just alone, that helped me so much, and it showed me that despite all that I've been through, that I can make it out and that I can do better and that I can be my own leader and be a leader to anybody else that's around me. Thank you.
Next, we have Terry Jo's making her way over here.
I'm Terry Jo Mickle. I'm a casework supervisor at Asheville County Children's Services. And today I have the pleasure of nominating two young men that kind of hold a special place in my heart, not only through work, but these are young men who are in my community, who are friends and go to school with my kids. So over the past few years, I've had the opportunity to watch them grow. We got involved with Tyler and Josh, if they want to come up, in the fall of 2015. Their story, unfortunately, is like a lot of many other young people's stories, that they grew up in a family whose parents struggled with addiction issues. They went through periods of instability, not having their basic needs met, no guidance, and not knowing where they were going to lay their heads at night sometimes. And you never know how kids are going to respond to that type of a situation. Initially, when we got involved, these two young men were polar opposites. Josh took the road where he was going to always overcome and exceed and excel, and Tyler was having some struggles and needed that guidance. But what I can say is that these two young men are shining examples of what can happen when they're given some unconditional love and support. Josh has flourished in spite of his situation, and because of where Tyler is now, he's experienced much success. At this time, Josh is he works a part-time job at Dairy Queen in Conneaut, plays soccer and runs track for the high school, which he excels at. He went to regionals last year, and he's just told me for sure he's going again this year, so he's got his goals set high. He's a member of the National Honor Society. He's a junior class officer. Josh has accomplished a lot. We've seen a huge turnaround in Tyler. His grades have turned around. He's attending school regularly. He's no longer getting in legal trouble. And right now he played football, he lettered as a freshman in wrestling, and he's currently playing baseball. He works with the family business. Being able to be part of these young men's lives have made me so happy and proud just to play such a small part in changing their lives. But the bigger thanks really needs to go to the people who have taken them in. I know they don't want the recognition, but Taylor and Louise Cleveland have become parents for Josh, and Jack and Linda Pachowski for Tyler. You know, they've opened their hearts and their homes and made them a permanent part of their family when they had no obligation to do so. They are members of our community just like everybody else. Taylor was a coach for Josh in soccer, and Josh felt that's somebody he could turn to in his time of need. And Jack has a business in Conneaut that served as a safe place for Tyler when he really didn't have other places to go. And there was no hesitation in these two men when the need presented for Josh and Tyler. Their wives weren't too far behind. And in talking with Linda and Louise now, there's no way these boys are going anywhere. But I get to watch their progress, and I just thought it was exceptional what they've done in this last year without us.
Okay, Joshua and Justina have been involved with Children's Services since November of 2015, when they lost custody of their two girls, Justina and Jasmine. Joshua and Justina had previously lost custody of 5 other children, all due to the same concerns: drugs. In the last year and a half, Joshua and Justina have worked very hard to better themselves and demonstrate how amazing they are, sober and in order to regain custody of their girls. Joshua and Justina have jumped through hoops and fallen on hard times, but continue to get back up and make a difference in their own lives, but also in the community. Congratulations, you guys.
I don't have really a whole lot to say, except for it's been a tough, enduring challenge. 15 months clean. The 25th of this month. I owe a lot of gratitude to Ashtabula County's Children's Services, because had it not been for them and the court system and Turning Point, I don't know if I'm allowed to mention them or not, but they were the people that helped me start on my journey. I went through being homeless on the streets of Ashtabula, pretty much being at the bottom of the bottom, and I by no means am anywhere near the top yet, but I'm slowly climbing. I'll be an addict for the rest of my life, and I'll be forever recovering. I have the opportunity to be a mom today, and that's something I never thought I'd actually have.
The only thing I could really say is I want to thank all the organizations out here that help people like me. Yeah, a lot of us don't make it. We make that choice to keep going down that road that isn't really good for anybody. But they're there to help. And for us addicts that choose to change their life, they're there to help anytime. I could pick up the phone and call these organizations and help. I look back now and I see how much I've changed. And to be honest with you, I don't think I deserve any award or any recognition, because all I've done is stop doing wrong things. I've just started doing the right thing. You know, and it's a beautiful thing. Like I get to have full custody of my youngest 2 daughters, and it's going to be a slow process because the pain that I caused them. You know, I want to just thank Children's Services for stepping in and to change my life so I can be a parent, so I could be a responsible and productive member of society instead of being that statistic. And I want to thank you guys from the bottom of my heart. And, you know, just keep doing what you guys are doing. It's helping people like us.
Oh, that was awesome, you guys. Thank you so much for all the accomplishments that they've had. Today we have our keynote speaker we are pleased to have today with us is China Darrington. And she does training through our regional training center. She'll be also our trainer this afternoon for those of you who are staying. I know our caseworkers have loved having her come and speak to them, so very happy to hear that she was willing to do this for us today.
Thank you very much. All right. Thank you so much for having me here today to be part of your celebration. It takes a community. This is really an honor for me. I really love coming up and being able to be part of these events. I'm a person in long-term recovery from many, many things. From substance abuse, from severe and persistent mental illness, which I like to call mental health, post-traumatic stress disorder as a result of things that I experienced both in childhood and during my addictions, from the traumatic loss of giving birth to children that I could not parent at the time because of the challenges that had not become manageable. Learning how to process those experiences would have given me excellent excuses to continue down the path of what ended up being 16 years of chronically relapsing, complex substance use disorder. And of course, when you have mental health issues, smoking crack and shooting heroin doesn't help. I was caught up in living for the next 20 minutes. That was all that I could get in front of. There was no planning or strategy for lifelong survival. I never thought I would make it out of my 20s. In the beginning of my addiction, I was 16 years old. I'm not a mom. I'm thinking I'm just experimenting. But I have both a genetic predisposition to be vulnerable to addictions and life experiences that created an environmental predisposition that when I started playing in those sandboxes of drug use, I became addicted much quicker than my cohorts. And so it eventually took 7 attempts at treatment. And after I had gone through the 1 and went back to using, and the 2nd, and the 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th, and went back to using, I'm now a mother to a beautiful 4-year-old. I'm 32, I'm too old to be doing this. I know better. There's no joy left in my addiction. But I felt like I bought into the stigma of once an addict, always an addict, and that I had gone too far down this path to ever come back. I tried everything I knew how to do. On September 29th, 2003, after a violent sexual attack at a crack house that ended up fracturing 4 levels of my spine, I retreated into my last drug binge. And during that binge, I started throwing up. I'm in a windowless bathroom. I don't know how much time is passing. But when I started throwing up, I was a little worried about that. The next time I got a community intake appointment, they asked all women of childbearing age the same question. Are you or do you think you could be pregnant? After the pregnancy test, I was pregnant with my 2nd child. I'm homeless. I'm living on the streets. My skin is yellow. The whites of my eyes are yellow. I have no front teeth. My hair is falling out in clumps. My daughter was in out-of-home care for 7 months at that time. I'm believing that because of the disappointment I caused my 4-year-old, she's better off if I don't show up. That last pregnancy, it was on September 29th, 2003, before what we had currently experienced as the opiate epidemic. So I went from that intake appointment to a detox treatment facility residential, and I'm starting to look at the wreckage of the life that I've created. And everyone who ever cared about me is really only waiting for the call from the coroner to let them know that the struggle is over. What was different about this 7th time was the fact that it was a gender-specific, trauma-informed treatment program. And I had a skilled women's counselor who asked me for the first time in my life, not what I used, but why I used. And I remember answering her, I use heroin and crack. She said, not what, why? I said, I just love it. So what do you love about it? And we got to the roots of my addiction through that inquiry. But But I couldn't do that by myself. I needed someone who was a professional and who knew their craft very, very well. She treated me like a human, then she taught me how to be a lady, then she taught me how to be a mother. She built pathways where it became easier to succeed than it was to fail. After I graduated from that first part, that phase 1 treatment, I was 8 months pregnant and I'm desperate. They're gonna let me go. And I failed so many times that I finally allowed myself to be vulnerable and say, I am so scared that if you discharge me and you let me go back to the people, places, and things that have sucked me in before, I'm 8 months pregnant. I don't want to get high and I don't know how not to. They offered me a unit of a transitional housing program for me and my children. And after that 24 months, my child, who was 5 when we entered, is now 7. I pay for my own apartment. I'm working full time. My kid's in the education system. And I think since that point, from 7 until now, she's 18, nobody has ever been able to tell us that we're just foster kids or drug addict parents. We are people living in lifetime recovery who became stronger as a result of interfacing with child welfare. And when I felt like I was scared and I couldn't go any farther, you told me, look behind you at all the successes you've already had. You can do this. And through that, I've been able to become a trainer, work throughout the state. I have a small business that does recovery-oriented systems of care and recovery support services to help people build those resiliencies, to meet them right where they're at. You have skills. You can be your family's best parent. And I'm honored and privileged to have both 2 amazingly strong children who are thriving, and that none of us could do this independently. And I am so grateful to be able to collaborate and learn how to be interdependent with my community, with the services out there. Thank you so much, caregivers, for opening your houses and your hearts and your homes and your lives to children that are not biologically yours, to be there when I could not be my child's best parent. Mandated reporters, thank you for keeping me on track. Thank you for being the eyes and ears when I was letting things slide. Treatment people, child welfare people, social services, thank you for showing me that I can become stable and that I can live a thriving life. Thank you so much for allowing me to participate in this wonderful event, and I hope we have a great day.
Thank you all again for another year with a great luncheon and great stories and great awards to give out. We really appreciate the support that we feel from the community when we have events like this and so many people come to them. It means a lot to our caseworkers and to our staff just to see that there is support out there for the work that we do. I'm really grateful for in our community is that we all are working together here. I mean, we all have a lot of the same families. If I know one agency can do something, we're pointing them in that direction or in this direction. We're all connected in that way, and I really appreciate being able to work with all of you. I want to thank Signature Health for letting us use their room again. This has been great chance for us to talk about the work that we do. Thanks to Community Action for providing the food. That was awesome. Thank you all very much for coming. We really appreciate you being here.